Hey folks, this is Peter Boykin, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor in North Carolina. Go to peterboykin.com. Thank you for going right with Peter Boykin. Look, somebody called me about it because I saw it pop up. And when I saw it popped up, and it said that our governor, Cooper, in North Carolina, has declared a state of emergency, I was like, oh no, what's going on? Is there a bad storm? Is there something extremely bad going on? Is lives going to have to be saved? What's going on here in North Carolina? And it turns out that it's like the boy who cried wolf. Roy Cooper declared a state of emergency, making North Carolina a laughing stock. Literally a laughing stock, because they are trying to, I don't know what the guy's trying to do, but it's a mess, and it's become national news. And to me, I think if you're declaring a state of an emergency, that's when there's possibility of life and limb, where somebody could get hurt. And so if you're going to willy-nilly basically water down the term state of emergency, it gets to the point where people will no longer pay attention to it. It's kind of like how everybody calls everybody a racist now, or everybody's a white supremacist, or woke this, or everybody's a rhino, when in reality you've watered down these terms where they mean nothing. Okay? So this damn fool, Cooper, is making North Carolina life in stock. It's a mess. North Carolina Governor Cooper declares a, quote, state of emergency over the school choice bill. Now, when I first thought about the school choice, I was kind of a little bit in the camp wondering why public money would go towards paying for private school. But then when you think about it, that our North Carolina government will take a certain amount of money for people who have students and pay that certain amount of money for their college education, regardless of where they're going to go, because they're normally going to go to public school. Public schools are already full of people, just full of kids. They're overpopulated. They've been overpopulated since I went to school, like 30-some years ago. They've always been overpopulated. So we have more schools. We have more school choice. We have governor schools. We have private schools. And it makes sense to have school vouchers to be able to go to any of these schools, because it would have been money that they would have spent anyway on people's students. So it actually does make sense, regardless of what people are saying. But this article in Fox News by Lindsay Cornick, Fox News here, said Republican state lawmakers have planned to use their veto-proof majority to pass election reform. So Governor Cooper's declared a state of emergency. He's upset because, the abortion issue, he lost that because of our Cottonham or whatever, who became a Republican overnight, made sure that they had a veto-proof passing of the abortion bill. And now, with the other stuff going on, Cooper's in a panic, because he's got not long. He's a lame duck at this point for the rest of his term. So North Carolina Governor Cooper declared a state of emergency ahead of the Republican state legislature planning to pass school choice legislation. Cooper released a video announcement where he declared a state of emergency, arguing that the state of the public education is no less important than other emergencies. So what? School education, where they're going to pass a bill, is just the same as what? 9/11? D-Day? Pearl Harbor? Vietnam? Tornadoes? Hurricanes? Really? Quote, it's time to declare a state of emergency for public education in North Carolina. There's no executive order like with a hurricane or a pandemic, but it's no less important. Yeah, people die during hurricanes and floods and pandemics and things like that. Not during a educational vote where basically children are going to be, educated? Nobody's dying because of that. What's going on, dude? You are watering down what a state of emergency is, Cooper. Now, he continued, it's clear that the Republican legislature is aiming to choke the life out of public education. I'm declaring the state of emergency because you need to know what's happening. If you care about public schools in North Carolina, it's time to take immediate action and tell them to stop the damage that will set back our schools for a generation. Now, I'm going to let you know what's going on in Winston-Salem tonight. I found out is a bunch of people are going to be protesting what happened at a school where they let a drag queen, and I have no problem with drag queens or transsexuals or anything like that, but a grown man, in or out of drag, a grown man grinded on a 14-year-old during an STD training or whatever, which people need to know about their STDs and stuff like that because we have a rampant issue of that going on in college. But a grown man grinded on a 14-year-old girl. That's more of a state of emergency than worrying about a vote for people to have more school choice. So Cooper's announcement drew intense backlash on Twitter as an overreach of government power. Damn well it's an overreach. The Blaze columnist Aaron McHenry, and I'm sorry I pronounced it wrong, wrote, "Executive governing in the permanent state of exception to save democracy. Neutering the abuse of emergency power by the executive branch should be priority number one for every state," conservative account Polymath tweeted. So school choice advocate Corey DeAngelis wrote, "They're losing control over the minds of other people's children. Good. Cry harder, Roy Cooper. What a hypocrite. Public schools aren't good enough for his kids, but they are for yours," Independent Women's Forum senior policy analyst Kinsley Bowler blasted. Now, Purple Strategies partner Rory Cooper, I don't know if that's the same relation as Roy Cooper, commented, "If I were the governor of North Carolina, I wouldn't have been declaring a state of emergency when the state was in the bottom third of states reopening schools and depriving children of the education they needed. Not once kids got involved and demanded something better for their kids or parents." So yeah, remember, we were the ones that kept kids out of school. We're the ones that made kids stay at home. We're the ones that kids didn't come back to school afterwards. No declaration of state of emergency then. But when kids are going back to school and parents want to get involved and it's not learning liberal arts, it's a state of emergency. A state of emergency over a bill passed by legislature. Very serious. Americans of Prosperity Vice President Casey Maddox joked. Now, in April, Republican lawmakers in North Carolina announced efforts to move forward with education reform bills that promote school choice. One measure includes a bill that would provide equal funding to charter school students along those who attend public schools. Critics such as Cooper claim that the bill mostly serves to cut funding for public schools. But public schools already need to have cuts. There's too many people there, remember? And you're not even teaching people. You're not teaching people. Years ago, I was a projectionist manager. We had an employee, a young black employee who graduated from Durham High School, Durham, North Carolina, who couldn't read or write properly. Yeah, they're doing such a great job. Quote, "Put together, these ideas spell disaster that requires emergency action. The North Carolina I know was built on support for public schools, and we can't let the legislature tear them down. I'm fighting back, and I need you two to do it too. Public schools can't survive this legislative session. Oh, I'm going to cry. If we can limit the damage, but we need to pull it all together." That's what Cooper said. The measures by state Republicans followed the announcement Representative Tricia Cottenham, the lady who turned over to the Republican side, that she would be defecting from the Democratic Party to join the GOP. Her decision, she stated at the time, came from her support for school choice. Quote, "On issues like school choice, like charters, we have to evolve. One-size-fits-all education is wrong for children. Democrats didn't really want to talk about children. They had talking points from adults and adult organizations, and that's the truth. They're always saying that they are. Now, Republicans kind of seem like they're sometimes for children as well, and then it becomes the same. It kind of gets tossed around. Does anybody actually ask what the children want? That's what I kind of wonder. Now, quote, "On issues like school choice, like charters, we have to evolve." Now, Cooper has been criticized for opposing a private school vouchers while sending his daughter to a private school in Raleigh. He has also attempted to end the state's Opportunity Scholarship Program, which provides vouchers to low and middle income students. So as he's using this as a political ploy, because Roy Cooper is now a lame duck until he's voted out and somebody else takes over because he can't run again. At least if I'm elected as lieutenant governor, I won't have to worry about Roy Cooper. Hopefully I'll have a governor that I can work with, left or right. Hopefully they won't be as nuts as declaring a state of emergency in North Carolina and trying to say it's the same as what? 9/11, or it kind of reminds me of our so-called VP who basically said that January 6th was like 9/11. Yeah, no. State of emergency, folks. Roy Cooper, pay attention. We're not in a state of emergency. If we had a whole bunch of people going in and shooting children in schools, it would make more sense. But you're just scaring people. You're gaslighting. You're turning up the gas. You're gaslighting. Why don't you just take a vacation until 2024 is over and let the legislature take care of things? Just take a vacation, dude. Go to Florida. This is Peter Boykin. Go to peterboykin.com to find out more from me. I'm running for lieutenant governor. God bless everybody.
Hi folks, this is Peter Boykin. I am a conservative. I want to conserve our Constitution. I want to conserve our country. I want to conserve our way of life. I want to conserve our freedom. The principles of life, liberty, and justice for all. This is what makes our country what it is. So yes, I am a conservative. For some, I might not fit your definition, but that's the point. It's your definition, not mine. Life, liberty, justice for all. The power of one becomes the voice for many. Hashtag go right with Peter Boykin. To be a Republican and in the Republican Party.